Welcome back to Pen and Reel. I'm your host, Uncle Joel, coming back to you with the second and final issue of Future State Swamp Thing. Now, I've explored a little bit of the Future State so far, dabbling here and there in various books, but only picking up and actually reading a few of them. And the major issue I have with this entire event is that most of the stories are very short, with only like 1 or 2 issues per series. So if you're really into certain characters, such as Swamp Thing or Wonder Woman, you're really only going to get 2 issues for that character, and that story is done. And it seems like the only books that are really getting much attention and more page count and more issues is the entire family of Batman books. Which really comes as no surprise to me, as Batman is very much DC's best-selling character. But still, it's frustrating when you want to read something like Swamp Thing or Immortal Wonder Woman, and you want more of a full story as opposed to trying to condense everything down into just 2 issues. And so a lot of the Future State stories feel very rushed and very condensed, and like they're trying to throw out a lot of ideas, but cram them down into just a small number of pages. That was definitely my issue with Immortal Wonder Woman, both in the Nubia and the Diana Prince stories, as well as the Shazam book. And then when I realized that Swamp Thing was only going to be 2 issues, I felt very worried that the ideas weren't going to be explored fully or properly, which is why this issue blew me away. Ram V took an extreme limitation, and he made the most of it, and turned out a phenomenal book, given the small page count. Across only 2 issues, Ram V managed to set up a very interesting world, a very compelling analysis of Swamp Thing's character and mindset, as well as introduce a number of very interesting ideas that help develop the DC Universe as it is in this book, and tell a very compelling, engaging, and character-driven story. It's honestly a very impressive feat of storytelling. No other Future State book, from what I've been able to see, and from what I've been able to hear from other people who have read the books that I have not, none of them have been able to accomplish what Ram V accomplished here. So personally, from what I've seen and from what I've read, I would say Swamp Thing is probably the best book to come out of Future State, at least in terms of quality and utilization of the limited page count. If you can't tell, I highly recommend this book, especially if you're a fan of Swamp Thing. Now, after reading this, I am very much looking forward to Ram V's Swamp Thing book that comes out of Future State. And what little I knew about the book was that Ram V was doing a Swamp Thing book after Future State. So I took this Future State book as kind of a roadmap of where he might be going with the character in the future, only to find out that his plans for the Swamp Thing book going forward are vastly different. Now, apparently it's going to be only a 10-issue miniseries, and it's going to explore a new host other than Alec Holland, I believe an Indian character, and the whole book is going to be set in India, or at least primarily start out there and based out of India. So that book is very much not going to be what I thought it would, and while that is kind of disappointing, at the same time, Ram V did such a good job here with these 2 issues in Future State that I'm looking forward to what he does with the character, regardless of whether it's what I'm expecting or not. As usually tends to be the case for comic book fans, it does make me a little bit wary that we're shifting to a new character that is taking on the mantle. But after this Future State series, I do trust Ram V, and I'm looking forward to reading whatever he puts out, even if it's not with Alec Holland, and even if it's not going to be the same character or story that I was expecting. So yeah, if you enjoy the Swamp Thing, I would definitely say check this out. It's very much worth the read, and I would very much like to see an Elseworld story that explores this or a similar post-apocalyptic setting sometime in the future. But for now, Swamp Thing is my favorite part of Future State, and I'm very much looking forward to Ram V's Swamp Thing miniseries in the near future. But if you read the book, what did you think? Would you agree that this is the best of Future State? If not, what Future State book are you enjoying more? Is there a Future State book that you recommend I check out? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious to hear what you think. If you could help me out by hitting like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, this is Uncle Joel saying, stay tangible.